What's going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI Fan TV, episode 21 of Cautiously Optimistic. And oh god, it is a big one. Joined by Soccer. I think we have Griff popping in a few minutes as well. But massive show on the cards tonight. Of course, there's so much to talk about. Obviously, all the fallout from the Azerbaijan game, the draw on Saturday. We're chatting about that. We're going to be chatting about all the reports that were kind of being suggested today that tomorrow's game against Serbia could be kind of make or break for Kenny's job. Off the ball, we're kind of reporting stuff about it. So yeah, and looking ahead to the Serbia game, of course, there was League of Ireland action as well that we need to discuss. We're going to be chatting about the FAI Cup draw as well, the quarterfinal cup draw. So yeah, so much on the cards tonight. Make sure to stay tuned, guys. Really excited for this one. Do drop a like on the stream. It's gonna be really good, and stick with us. It's gonna be about an hour long or whatever. But yeah, hit a like and please do subscribe. As you can see, though, joined by Socko. How are you doing, lad?
Good, man. Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, no, can't complain. Sure, who would listen? Tough enough weekend then. Just in terms of the result on Saturday. Heavy enough on Saturday night then. So, look, like it's tough, isn't it? It's tough to know where to even start, to be honest.
Yeah, totally agree. I suppose confidence was high going into this one off the back of the Portugal game. And for the first 15 minutes, it looked like we could have went 2 or 3-0 up, but I suppose we'll get into that. But everyone thought this was going to be the moment where we get our first competitive win in I think 15 games, and just wasn't to be.
Yeah, it really did feel like this was kind of like off the back of the Portugal game. In fact, this was the chance to kind of really show the sign of progress this international phase, and like it's just so frustrating that we couldn't get over the line with it. And we kind of did start well. As I said, the first 10-15 minutes, we did start the game really well. I'll just pull this up. We did start the game really well. Kind of going, I think Doherty had a header. We had one or two bits and pieces first 10-15 minutes, but then kind of fell a bit flat, and then Azerbaijan kind of grew into the game a bit, and obviously the goal they got kind of came out of the blue a little bit, like a kind of a shot from range. Like it was just before half time as well. It was just a sucker punch and just completely changed. You're at the game yourself. It must have just changed the atmosphere in the whole stadium. I'd say that goal was before half time. Such a sucker punch. Like
I've never ever felt the life be sucked out of a stadium so fast. It was quite unique, you know. And of course, with no away fans there, the stadium just fell silent. And I think it was 15 seconds before like the halftime whistle. But I suppose it might be handy to just start off with the starting lineup. Ubezunu again. We had a good chat before the game, and we were kind of thinking I expected us to stick with the wing backs. You expected him to go with 4 in the back, 4 at the back. And it turns out we were both kind of half right, because we started the game with the wing backs, obviously, but I think midway through the second half, it kind of looked like we kind of had four at the back for long periods. I suppose the formation kind of just went out the window a little bit when for the last 20 minutes we were just kind of throwing the kitchen sink at it, you know. You know, so yeah, he had McLean over left wing back. Instead of Matt Doherty, had Matt Doherty out at the other wing. Put Coleman back into this 3 centre backs. No start for Omen Bamadile, which I was kind of surprised about. Thought he was flawless against Portugal. What did you make of just the back line first of all?
Yeah, I thought, to be honest, tactically and team selection wise, Kenny got it completely wrong on Saturday.
Thinking around with it too much.
Being perfectly honest, I think he got it completely wrong. I think we saw the success of having Coleman and Doherty, probably nearly our two best players, playing wing backs. It allowed them both to get forward, and then to revert to kind of Coleman in the back three, in the 3 centre backs, Doherty right wing back, and then to bring McLean in, who didn't have a great game. I think he needed to stick with Omen Bamadile. If he's going to go with the back 5, Omen Bamadile in that back 3, and have Coleman and Doherty as the wing backs so they can get forward and contribute to the game, because they did it really well against Portugal. I don't understand why that was changed. The next one, big one for me, was Jamie McGrath in midfield. There must have been an issue there because he played so well against Portugal, I thought. And to have him drop from the team, not even come off the bench, if there's no injury or no like illness situation there, that's ludicrous. Like, that's shocking. Like, because he's one of our most creative midfielders in the squad. He played really well. There's no reason for him not to have been selected for the starting 11, let alone come off the bench and try and get us back into the game or try and get a goal. So yeah, I thought team selection wise it was weird. I thought the front three was I think it was like this big statement from Kenny was to go with the three young lads, Connolly, Parrott and Ida. Parrott didn't really get into the game at all. Looked a little bit, I think he was playing off to the right, wasn't he? Off to the right of Ida. Not really a natural position. Seemed like a strange choice. I probably would have gone with someone like a Daryl Horgan, maybe someone like that.
Yeah, totally agree with you about McGrath. He was one of our best players versus Portugal, obviously getting that assist as well. It might be harsh to say, but like, you'd hope there wasn't, hope there was an injury, but like, I'd love not to think that Kenny just didn't pick him. If he was fit, like you almost want there to be.
Sense, hasn't it?
No, I don't think so. You almost want there to be like a issue there because at least you can understand it better then.
Yeah.
I thought Cullen was excellent again. Malumbi had an iffy game. His high press was really good. He got in there the Azerbaijan players' faces, but he was kind of caught out of position a good few times. They seemed to run through 3 or 4 times, just really easily pass it out from the back, and within 5 odd seconds, they were attacking our defense. Like, Cullen was a little isolated when Malumbi was kind of pressing so high. The front three, maybe before the match, kind of no real arguments there. Connolly, I thought he was really bright at the start, but very quickly just lost his way, and it's really frustrating again. I think 2 times in the first half, like it just seems he goes down when he gets a little bit of contact. I know Kenny was trying to defend that last week, saying, he's low center of gravity, and it's to do with his pace, but you'd love to see him just take players on better and just complete the shot or complete the pass, because like I know he's only young, but in these type of games, like it's just so frustrating seeing him lose the ball so much. Ida, one man of the match. I thought he was excellent. Didn't create. I think he'd won a really good header chance in the first half. I think he had half chance in the second half as well. But his hold of play, dropping deep as well, putting himself about. There's one touch in the second half that, like Dennis Bergkamp style, is unbelievable. He's really exciting. But on the other hand, I was saying to a friend today that it's a sign of this team that our star striker, you're hoping, will start getting us the goals. He's never scored a senior goal for Ireland, so that's where we're at right now. Troy Parrott, I think he had 1 shot on target in the whole game. Did do his best, as you'd expect, but kind of didn't get much joy. Didn't kind of know what his clear role was. I think like he was drifting into the left sometimes. He was caught out too far wide. Sometimes he was dropping deep. There was 1 or 2 times in the first half he was making the same run as Connolly, and they kind of bumped into each other once or twice. Where they both go to the near post, they both go to the back post, and you're kind of like a little bit more understanding there, be better. And look, he's only young as well, but Connolly brought off at half time, I think, in place of Daryl Horgan. That was an instant impact. I thought Daryl Horgan got a little bit of sick now after the game, but I thought he was one of our not best players, but most creative and trying to make something happen. He put in a few lovely crosses. I think Parrott got taken off there, I think 20 minutes ago as well. But as you said, just after the 20-minute mark, we fell apart totally, didn't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just touching on kind of what you're saying about the front three, Aaron Connolly, honestly, I have absolutely no idea how he has a contract with a Premier League club, because he is so far from being a Premier League standard player. It's unbelievable. Yeah, he's good. He has a lot of pace about him, and that's about it. On the ball, for me, he's pretty woeful. Like he had the one really, really good game against Spurs for Brighton, that breakout game. But for Ireland and for Brighton, like, I think his finishing is poor. Like, and his composure's all over the place. Like I don't know. I really don't see it with him, to be honest. It really he's been struggling so much, and I think he should be dropped tomorrow night for the Serbia game. We'll get onto that obviously later on, but yeah, I thought he was going to be dropped for this one as well. Didn't have him in my predicted 11. Yeah, I don't know. I think Troy Parrott, obviously you're saying, yeah, it's a tricky one for him. Obviously, we know he has the ability. It's really tough for him. He's kind of playing on that right-hand side out of position. Adam Ida as well, as you're saying, put in a really, really good shift, showing so much signs of potential. The only problem is that little bit of rootlessness in front of goal, maybe at times. And that's only going to come with playing games week in, week out. And he's just simply not doing it. He hasn't done it last year. He's been on the bench for the majority of the time at Norwich. He's going to be on the bench probably for the majority of this season at Norwich as well, which is just such a shame because we can all see how much potential he has. And it's nearly that potential that's keeping him at Norwich on the bench, if you get me. Like, they're not loaning him out because they can see that and they want them in and around the first team, but he's just not getting the minutes, which is such a shame. It's such a shame. It's really a catch-22. Yeah, I don't know. It's really, really tricky with Adam Ida. I would have loved to have seen him got it alone to the Championship and just play week in, week out, because I think he would score bundles of goals. It's just such a shame that he hasn't really got that opportunity yet to play first team football week in, week out.
Yeah, I think he was in with a shout for man of the match against Portugal, and obviously man of the match yesterday as well. I think he's had a few preseason games for Norwich, and I can't remember if he has he played it all so far this season, the 3 games.
I think he's come off the bench maybe once or twice.
Bench, yeah. But like if he's doing this well, for Ireland with limited game time, just imagine how well he'll do with a good number of games under his belt. Like if he gets a good run coming into the games in October, I think there's 2 games in November as well, he'd be in really, really good form. And I was lucky to speak to him after the Azerbaijan game and kind of asked him about that. Just in front of goal, he 1 or 2 good chances, and I asked him just on a different day, could you maybe have taken them, or is it just a matter of confidence or whatever? And he just said, obviously, as you'd expect, keep working hard on the training pitch. And he's disappointed that he hasn't scored for Ireland yet, but he'll do everything that he can to get off the mark. Himself and Cullen, Bazunu too, probably your top 3 players from this window so far. But I don't know. Yeah, just after the 20-minute mark and up until the goal, it's just really concerning for me. Like, I was watching it and I said, Jesus, we totally stepped off them all of a sudden, let them come at us. We were under the cosh for like 15 minutes. Putting simple balls out of play, struggled to put a few passes together at a few times, and just totally lost our rhythm and lost our way. And like that goal, Stephen Kenny said it was a sucker punch, but like it was, but it wasn't really. But it was just a setback. Like, 1 down against the side, 112th in the world.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really call it. It was a sucker punch just before half time, but more of a setback, I'd say.
Maybe the timing of it was so unideal, like, because the whole place had to sit on that for half time. The players go in at half time feeling that like that's the last moment of the half is the only thing.
It was unreal. Yeah, so I think they tipped off, and that's great now.
Right, Keys.
Wait. But yeah, just to finish that, he had 10 seconds on the ball from when he picked the ball up to when he took the shot. I think it was Doherty and Coleman totally stepped off, and it was just really frustrating. It was a really similar goal to the one we conceded against Luxembourg, just stepping off, no pressure, 25-yard strike, and that, yeah, it was very strange seeing the life sucked out of the stadium so fast, because before then it was brilliant. The 22,000 fans back in the stadium, you know.
Yeah.
How are you, Griff? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Brilliant weekend.
Not too bad. Yeah, great weekend. Jesus Christ.
We're just discussing, first of all, kind of like the team selection before going into kind of Kenny and the kind of future, whatever. We're kind of going into like the team selection and thoughts on the actual game itself. What were your kind of thoughts on the match?
Yeah.
That's a dodgy odd connection, is it?
Game.
Oh,
That's
God.
ideal anyway. Lovely stuff.
Kick him.
Let's see. I'll try and remove and see if I can add him back in there. It might work. But yeah, let's have a quick look at a few comments. There's plenty of comments coming in.
Yeah.
It's connections dust, does it?
Connection is just as good as fucking our performance.
Yeah.
A lot of comments, actually.
A lot of comments coming in, guys. Yeah. My connection is dusty. Give me 5 minutes, Griff said. We've 2 top midfielders in Dawson Devoy and Chris Forrester. Unfortunately, here not in the squad. I think Dawson Devoy is probably a year or 2 off, maybe. The physical demands.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm just reading some of the comments here. A few of them are just a bit kind of just memes, you know, Big Sam, etc.
Yeah.
Is my connection better now? Dusty.
Yeah,
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, grand. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Like,
did you hear what we asked you?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I think it's just like fresh. My connection. Yeah, we started well. I thought we had like a lot of chances, but a lot of them were kind of half chances, like nothing really major. Cause I thought just kind of letting them back into the game. We had our foot off the gas like the last 20 minutes of the second half. Even like when they scored the goal, listen, it was great finish, like 25 yards out, pretty similar to the one against Luxembourg, but it's kind of basic shit, like not closing them down quick enough, like giving them too much space. Like it was just a bit like just took our foot off the gas, really. I think we were quite lucky to get back into it. Like even because they had 11 men behind the ball, like whole second half they were just sitting, waiting, like, and they were quite hard to break down. So I think we were quite lucky to get back into it. But yeah, overall it's disappointing, but it's not really surprising. I don't know, like we just struggle to score goals, really. And then if you allow them to score a goal like that, they're just going to put 11 men behind the goal, and it's going to be really hard to score. But so yeah, it's disappointing, but it's nothing that we haven't seen so far, like, you know.
Yeah, it was very unlike Seamus Coleman, wasn't it? In terms of like kind of not closing that down, he kind of was a bit lethargic in closing it down. I thought, just looking back at it.
I think we were quite complacent, we were quite complacent. I don't know what it was, like, because I think that was like the first real chance they had, like, and we're kind of like, oh, these lads aren't going to score, and then that happens, you know. So
yeah. Obviously, that this is now, lads, 15 competitive games without a win for Ireland now. What was it? 15, 16 games. Kenny's been in charge. Obviously, just the 1 win over Andorra. Has it gotten to the stage like where he does need to start? Like, is it like how long does he get? Like in terms of results wise, things need to be improving. Do you think? Is it this campaign? Is it this campaign?
I'll let you go first, Socko.
Well,
here we go.
Half an hour here. Like personally, I'd really, really like to see him given the Germany 2024 campaign to kind of see this through, because I think factoring in like all the external circumstances and the players we've lost, and like he said today that when he took over, you could argue that the spine of the team was taken out. Even McGoldrick retiring, Glenn Whelan getting to the end of his career, then Darren Randolph not having regular game time. The average age of our squad is probably the lowest it's ever been, and he's given 14 or 15 players their competitive debuts. Just their debuts in his time in charge. I think a lot of people need to get real as to where we are right now. That we haven't qualified for a World Cup in 20 years. We're at the end of you could argue 30-year cycle of kind of just one-dimensional football. I mean, me personally, like I've seen enough signs in the performances to give it a go and be prepared to give it a go. You know?
No, go ahead,
but in all seriousness, it was the first time today that we heard Stephen Kenny talk about Germany 2024 and him being in charge of that. Obviously his contract runs out at the end of this campaign. But I'd really like to see him given the next campaign, because number one, who else do you bring in? I think you'd be very hard pushed to find a manager out there who knows the players as well as he does. I haven't heard one player come out in the last few months since he's took over and say anything bad about Kenny or get fed up. I think that speaks volumes. Everyone seems to be backing him. And even if he does not get his contract renewed, like this plan, this project, this new era needs to stay, because I don't think I could watch Ireland if we go back to the just hidden hope. And I do think that your Germany results and your Wales, a few big results, have papered over cracks qualifying for the Euro 2016. That we've been really poor for like 4 or 5 years. I was looking today, 5 competitive wins in our last 31 games. People say that like Mick did do a great job, but we beat Gibraltar twice, beat Georgia too. I think people need to get real as to where Irish football is right now, and not excusing the results. Obviously, they could have been better, but I, for one, have seen enough to be prepared to give it another campaign.
Just on that, right? So his contract obviously expires at the end of this campaign. Surely he needs to earn a new contract. Like, in terms of the results he's delivered so far, does he not need to like show like for the rest of this campaign deliver some sort of results? Like even the Serbia game tomorrow night being a huge one, maybe like the Luxembourg game away from home, the next Azerbaijan game. Like, does he need to? I think he needs to start like picking up wins to earn a new contract. If you get me, it's not like he's already in contract. It's been earning a new one.
Yeah, it depends how you define earn. Do you define that by results, or do you define that by performances? He was really it was a crazy, not crazy. It was a really, really interesting press conference today. Where's the thing he said? He was asked like 3 or 4 times in a row about his job. So give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I think it's real progress over here overall. To be honest, that's the way I see it. That's the way my staff and coaches see it. There's a lot of people who aren't, and saying that's not your job to develop the game here. Your job is to just win the next game. That nearsightedness doesn't create anything. You might beat teams that you should beat, but you'll never beat the teams you strive to beat. You're trying to build something tangible over a period of time, and that can be successful. So I suppose after this campaign, the FAI will sit down and look at the results and the performances. And I say if they're looking at the results, he'll probably lose his job. If they're looking at the performances, I hope he'll be safe.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Griff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not to the same degree as Socko how passionate I am in terms of keeping him. Like, you know, I'm not that pro in. I'm not particularly. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, who else are you going to bring in? Like, I've seen going around Twitter today, Sam Allardyce. If we bring in Big Sam, like, you need to get, like, if you want to bring in speed, you need to give your head a wobble. Like, Big Sam, like what's the point? Like, I was like, I can see where Socko's going from. Like, you know, there's a project being built here, and we're kind of moving towards something. And there's been like bits of this campaign where we've been playing good football, and you know, you can see there's like something coming together. We've got a really, really young squad, so I do think that they are only going to get better, hopefully. It's just difficult. Like, what people don't realize as well is, like, as you said, Socko, it's 5 wins in 3 years and 3 different managers. Like, and like 3 of them against like Gibraltar, Andorra, Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, and in Wales, that's it. Like we aren't good. We haven't been good for a long time. Like, that's not going to change. If you bring in Chris Hughton's not going to change that. Like, Chris Hughton's struggling at Forest right now. Like, I mean, it's like this what kind of annoys me. It's like, just get rid of him. Who else are we going to bring in? Like, you know, yeah. And this isn't like the FAI, like the old FAI where you bring in Trapattoni on a fucking £1 million a year contract. We can't afford that. Like, so
yeah. just off the ball, we're put out a tweet today, and they're saying that the FAI is currently split on Kenny. He's facing the possible sack after the Serbia game, depending on the result. The contenders to take over, they said, Robbie Keane, which would be an absolute disaster if he took over. That'd be one of the worst appointments in history. Roy Keane, not as bad as Robbie, probably a much better managerial CV than Robbie, but he's already kind of had a chance in the Irish setup with Martin O'Neill. Very divisive character. Like I feel like it would go one way or the other probably. Damien Duff, probably not nowhere near experienced enough. Neil Lennon, Jesus Christ, Neil Lennon.
No, not a chance, man. Oh my God.
Stephen Reid, very inexperienced. Lee Carsley, I've heard, is a very, very good coach, but again, it's the experience thing there.
He's only just started with the England 21s, hasn't he? So he's not going to leave that.
Yeah. No, he has a nice gig there, I think. But apparently he is a really, really talented coach. So possibly that's someone to look at in the future, maybe. But I think for now, he just doesn't have the experience. We need to have somebody with experience. And as you say, Sam Allardyce. Now, I'm not saying that I want Sam Allardyce to get the job, right? But I do think that he is disrespected more than he deserves to be. I think when he was manager of Bolton, and that was a long time ago now, but they actually played really, really good football. Your JJ Koches, players like that.
JJ Koches, we don't have a JJ Koches, for fuck's sake. You know, your JJ Koches, who's that going to be? Like Glenn Whelan? Like,
just to play devil's advocate, right? Is there like a case that we just don't have the players to play this type of football that Soccer's talking about with Kenny, like this expansive brand of football? Like we just not like international level, we can't sign players to fit the system. You have to just kind of work with what you have. So is it a case of, in terms of results, Sam Allardyce, something like that is the option? I'll just play devil's advocate because, like, all I'm saying is, like,
bringing Big Sam, like, what's the point of, like, we've been trying to play this football for ages. We've been playing shy football for the last 50 years, and we're trying to play good football, and then we have a few bad results, and we're like, listen, we'll get Big Sam in, steady the ship, like, come on, like.
Yeah,
he's not going to help us qualify either, is he? Like, realistically, not for Germany.
Sam.
I don't think Big Sam. I don't think he
Big
will.
Sam would be more likely to get us to the Euros in terms of results than Kenny. Big Sam can get results, like I think.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's right man for the job.
Season, though, like.
Yeah, I know, but like that side is really bad. Like,
so are we. We're bad.
I'm not saying that we're not. I'm not saying that we're not. I'm just saying like that's why might possibly suits better. I'm not saying I want Big Sam to come in or anything like that. Like, because we probably drop Bazunu and get Randolph back in and all this stuff. Like, it would be crap from that point of view. Like, but I don't know. Just looking at it from the other perspective, like in terms of like, I'm in my 20s. I want to be going to Berlin in 2024. I want to be going to USA, Mexico, Canada 2026. These are the best years of my life from a completely selfish point of view. I want to get to these tournaments.
Tell me about it. Like, tell me about it.
Me too. I think obviously we'll do, but like, if you say you get rid of Kenny tomorrow and say we qualify for Germany 2024 with fucking Big Sam or someone, and we have the crack, and that's great, but we might have another tournament for another 10 years because there's no tangible plan in place, and you just get a manager in every 2 or 3 years you might get to a tournament. And I've said it before, I'd much rather I've given up this qualification campaign, but like, even if we don't get to Germany 2024, if after then we're getting to tournaments regularly, that's what this whole project is about. Like Kenny said today, we certainly have a plan in place. I made the decision, right or wrong, that we would build this squad to be really, really competitive for Germany 2024. I'm very pleased with our emerging squad, and some of our performances have been excellent. Like, we played very well against Serbia. If Mark Travers stayed on his line, we might have got a point. But
we're playing well against sides where we don't have the ball, basically.
Yeah.
And we can't break down the sides that sit with two banks of four. We just can't. We just don't have the quality at all at the moment. It's really hard to watch at times.
That's a biggest issue, and I think another huge issue is just the composure in front of goal. Some of the chances, and maybe, I don't know, just putting it out there. Maybe it's because it's the first time in a long time in Irish football where we've actually enjoyed a large number of chances. I think 21 attempts on Saturday. Whereas for the past few years, you might have the odd header or like the odd McLean versus Wales, the odd hit and hope. But for the first time, we're regularly getting chances. We're getting into good positions, creating a lot. But we just have no composure from the goal. I think Robinson missed a 6-yard box chance. Coleman had a really good chance. Malumbi put a shot just wide as well. 21 attempts on Saturday, and that just makes it more frustrating as well. But I suppose you'd rather we're getting into these positions and creating these chances, and eventually, hopefully, they'll come. But you could argue that like if we didn't have Robbie Keane for the last for that like between 2002 and when he retired, who else would have taken the chances?
Yeah.
So you're just hoping
so
like
this
Connolly, Ida can, Yeah. No,
so just in terms of this project that Kenny's building, So, like, are we to kind of like assume that the FAI are going to kind of fully back him on it and provide the facilities and all this kind of stuff for him to, and for Irish football to kind of like go in that direction where we're qualifying for tournaments like every year? Is that like, are we supposed to assume that's the case? Because like there's no money in Irish football. I don't think, like they're so in debt. They're not going to be able to like. That's the thing with Big Sam as well. I don't think the FAI could actually afford to bring someone like Big Sam in as well. Like I think he is a bit of a mercenary, isn't he? Like he would just
Big Sam, big wages, like
please,
But like, are we supposed to just assume that the FAI is going to like kind of like buy into this project? Like, are they completely aligned? Was Kenny completely aligned with the FAI in terms of this project, and like what we're building towards? Because would they not have given him a longer contract? Would the contract not be done already if this was the big project, the big plan in place? Surely it has to be aligned with the FAI and Kenny. Surely they have to have these kind of like aspirations in line with each other. I don't know. It just seems a little bit. I don't know if you want to call it delusional to assume that the FAI is going to just back him the whole way. Like,
yeah, I think that to be fair, like usually for contracts, they're already going to give someone contract for 2 tournaments. Usually it is tournament for tournament. I could be wrong, but like unless like unproven, that is, like if you're a proven manager like who's qualified for tournaments before, maybe like. But I don't know. Like it seems like it seemed like it was a project the way that it was all set up, that like Mick would take the first team and Kenny would be the under 21s, and then he'd build up and then come and take the senior team. It did seem like that was the plan in place. And to be fair, you do see like a lot of that, like a load of the under 21s that even we watched a few years ago in Tallaght Stadium, and now in the first team, like the likes of Bazunu, Ida, even Obafemi and stuff like Malumbi.
Obafemi hasn't got a chance. Like Ida actually is interesting. Kenny doesn't seem like a big fan of him.
I think
hopefully if he gets a bit more game time in Swansea, then we'll see.
Yeah.
The last we heard, as regards to that, was I think last May or last June, Jonathan Hill came out and said the FAI are fully behind Kenny, and I'd be surprised if we heard any more up until the end of the campaign. Like they're hardly going to come out with a statement after the Serbia game saying, "Oh, we're fully behind Kenny, but there's only 3 games left." 3 or 4, so we'll only know when the contract's renewed or when it's not renewed. If as I said, if they look at the results, it's grim read, and if they look at the performances, it's much better. So it's hard to know where they sit on it at the moment. But I think those reports where the FAI was split, I think off the ball were just passing on the message that they saw in, I think it was the Mail or the Star, the 2 papers today that kind of ran with them, which I don't know if there's any truth in them.
Usually there's no smoke without fire, especially after a result like that as well. There's definitely something going on, you'd imagine. Like,
yeah, it's hard to know.
You'd think, yeah. But like, yeah, like is this project a thing? Like when we're maybe if they're looking at the likes of like these like young up and coming coaches, it is still the same project. It's just the wrong person in charge of the project at the moment, possibly. Which like the main worrying thing for me with Kenny actually at the moment was the way he approached the game on Saturday. I thought he got the tactics and the team selection wrong. That's from just a plain managerial point of view. That was a concern for me. I thought he got it wrong.
We created like 21 goal scoring chances. When you say tactics and
I don't think you call them goal scoring chances. You can't call them goal scoring chances. I don't think they're like a lot of them are half chances.
Especially in the first half. There was more in the second half, but the first half we didn't create much. To be fair, like.
And you'd like to think no matter what team you put out, you'd be creating chances against Azerbaijan as well. They're 120th in the world as well.
But yeah, you're just looking at it from kind of results thing. So like if one of them 21 chances go in, or like
no, I know, because like that's the fuck thing is, right. So we hold out for an extra 5 minutes against Portugal. We beat Azerbaijan 1-0. We're having a completely different conversation right now. We're saying Kenny's the next best thing. That's how mad
it is
football
fine
is.
margins.
Like,
he's been crazy. He has been like the most unlucky Irish manager ever. So to be fair to him, like I'll give him that. Like, so,
this is like how long can we keep saying he's been unlucky? He's been unlucky. He's been unlucky. How long does that go on for? It's a hard one.
It's okay. Yeah, I was saying today, like there's no right or wrong way to looking at it. Everyone has their opinion. Yeah, I don't know, but having said all that, I totally agree with you. Just from a fan point of view, like it's just incredibly frustrating. All you want to do is to see Ireland do well. And Saturday was meant to be the moment, but it just wasn't to be.
No, exactly. Moving on to tomorrow night's game. Come on, lads. Joe, this game is actually we're out, we're gone. But this game is still massive for Kenny. Like I was thinking about it earlier on. I was like, is it like one where how he approaches this is going to be so interesting? Like, does he go all out for it? Does he say feck it? Like, but then, or does he kind of approach it in like a tentative manner and try and keep it tight and try and get a draw to save his job kind of thing? A lot like to say, but you know what I mean? Like try and get something from the game instead of maybe going for it and losing 2-0 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be interesting to see how he goes about it.
Yeah, I think the approach will be quite similar to the Portugal game, to be honest with you. Kind of sit back and counter. Like to be fair, like the Portugal game, you've seen like playing out from the back and stuff. We did play very well. We created chances, and Portugal did struggle. And again, as you just said, if we actually held on, let alone if we had scored a few more against Portugal, because it was there for the taking. Like Conley had a few decent chances. Like we could have been 2-0 up or 3-0 up at one stage. Like
penalty too.
Listen, fine margins. But yeah, I think we'll set up in kind of defensive way. He's not going to go out again. He's not going to go balls to the wall attacking. Like Serbia have a very strong team. I don't know. I'm not particularly optimistic, to be honest with you, but I don't know. It's always when you expect, the least from Ireland that they usually do quite well. That's the thing. We always do better when we're expected to do shit. You know what I mean? And it's when against Azerbaijan. 3 points against Azerbaijan, not a bother. Like fucking that happens, So yeah, we'll see.
That's the thing. Like Serbia have like the likes of like a Dusan Tadic, Mitrovic, Milinkovic, Savic. Like they have really, really talented players. So it's going to be a very difficult game. I think Serbia are actually currently top of Group A. I think they're level on points with Portugal, but they're top. So they can't really afford, because there's only one goes through automatically, so they can't afford to drop points. So they're going to be straight up well up for this and straight into it. Like so it's going to be a very, very difficult game. So yeah, it's a hard one in terms of I don't know how he approaches it. I think he will, as you're saying, 5 at the back, and maybe Ida. I think Ida and Robinson would be my front two. I'd like to see them. I think I'd like to see Robinson get a start in this one, because he did look like a bit of a threat off the bench, I thought, actually, against Azerbaijan.
Very impressive. Yeah, he's very impressive.
I think it's like COVID, 3 times, isn't there, Kenny, or something?
Twice,
or twice or something. Yeah,
he's had it 3 times, then 2 times being in the Irish camp, I think.
Yeah. It's like COVID 3 times altogether. Like, how does that even?
No, I think he's like over twice, and one other time he was isolating, so he's missed like games 3 times because of COVID. Yeah.
Due to COVID, like it's crazy, like. But he's probably like one of our best players. Like he's playing at the top of the championship, like really, really well. Like it's mad to think that's one of our best players, but in reality, it is like.
Yeah, crazy. Like when he's been in his room for the last 10 days, like in bed. I suppose he might have been doing stuff on the bike too, but I thought he was really impressive when he came on. Darryl Horgan.
Very random.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Or like I was gonna say, like go for a run, but you can have a bike in your room, like
Yeah.
It's so specific, like
taking over Tom Griffin bike.
Don't drop the family name. Don't. Fuck's sake. Fun name of parents.
I thought them two were really impressed when they come on. Hurhan was pretty poor when he came on, to be honest. So yeah, I'd love to see McGrath start too. He was savage versus Portugal.
Surely.
Love to see him start. maybe. Oh, of course, Coleman's out now, so Mbamidele, you'd imagine, would slot into the three centre backs.
Christie, bro, Christie.
Oh, good God!
Christ.
Nothing there. Death taxes and Cyrus Christie couldn't have called.
He always sneaks his way into the squad somehow. The last day,
yeah, the second last day he joins the squad. Bless him. But yeah, I don't know. He's hoping for a good performance because of the stage. I don't know anymore. Your words aren't just coming to my head, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was like. So, interesting outside shout. Obviously, I think James McLean will start, but outside shout, Liam Scales will start left wing back.
I had a big argument with Adzi about it. He was like, just sending me voice messages saying, McLean was crap. Scales would have done my job. I was like, you don't know that. 0 senior appearances for him.
Yeah,
no way you know that. Yeah, possibly. Probably not. If
probably got Manning before him.
Probably not if he wasn't on the subs on Saturday, you know.
Yeah. Cool to see him get the number 5 jersey for Celtic. That was cool. I didn't think he'd actually get that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect to start every week now, would you? Or will he take a while to make his way into the team?
Well, surely isn't too far away if there's even number 5, I wouldn't think.
Your man, Postecoglou, I can't pronounce the second name, but he seems good for getting young players in as well. Like, he has a good track record, so hopefully he gets some game time over there. I'm sure the Scottish Premiership, like, to develop your game is real good league. Like, it seems like Jamie McGrath, like, you're playing in front of decent crowds. Like, it's probably similar standard to League One. It's League One, I'd say. Like, apart from Celtic and Rangers, so
yeah,
pretty good standard to be playing out. Like,
no, definitely, and Scales as well in terms of is Ireland, like, it's mad thing, like, is Ireland the chances of, like, literally as soon as you went to Celtic he got brought into the squad. Like, I know it wasn't anything clear, but it's just funny, like, it wasn't a League of Ireland player. It's so annoying, like.
Former
League of Ireland player, yeah. But as you said, like James McGrath, Conor McCarthy at St Mirren as well, like, it seems like a good pathway. So yeah, hopefully he gets on well over there. I'm sure he will. He looks the real deal. But we'll move on to the LOI action from the weekend. Obviously we did see draw 0 with Sligo. It's an exciting transition, isn't it?
Oh, Christ. Oh my God.
Cracking game. Not much to be said on it, to be fair. Sligo's still in third somehow, even though they're in absolutely awful form at the moment.
They're winless in like 7 or
something crazy. Like, yeah. I don't know what their buzz is, but they've gone really off the ball. Then Drogheda are in 6th, level on points with Bows, but Bows have 4 games in hand. So,
that's the European campaign for you, like.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say Drogheda just mid-table enough. It's looking like anyway. So 0-0, I'll take that, no bother. St Pat's 3, Longford 2, bit of a cracking game, and obviously it was a result we'll get onto in a minute by Shamrock Rovers, but Pats could be right back in the title race potentially.
It's a huge result for them. I caught the highlights myself. I'm on Longford. Like, the amount of single goal losses they've had this year is just insane. Pat's looking. You just hope they get a kind of little run going next 2 or 3 weeks to make a bit of a title race. Like, obviously Rovers just the league concert on now, out of the cup, out of Europe. I think they still have to play for definitely once, if not twice. So you just hope for a kind of decent title race. Because it must be more than 6 or 7 years since Pat's won the league, isn't it? At least.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Definitely, yeah. Are Pats in the title race for you, Griff? They're level on points at Rovers. Rovers have 2 games in hand, so obviously 6 points maximum. They would be clear, but not in great form, Rovers at all. They're still in it.
I mean, they're always still in it until the last hurdle, really. Like, but I think Rovers will probably have enough quality to see them through. The fact that they're kind of out the cup and out of Europe, like, fully focused on the league, like, I'd be surprised. However, like, it's only 2 games in hand, really. Like, if Rovers drop any kind of points there, like, and has to keep the pressure going, like, it could go right down to the wire. Yeah, so it'd be a good end to the season.
That's what you want to see as well, isn't it? Just to go down to the wire.
They might put a few games on telly, even if there's a decent title race.
Jesus, yeah, you just never know. Like,
you'd be hard pressed. Like, you'd be hard fucking pressed. Like,
sake.
Yeah. Chris Forrester. It says here Chris Forrester was very, very good. Yeah, he's just, this season he's really, because I think that wasn't last year he wasn't back to his full best, but I think this season he's been really, really good for Pats. And yeah, I really hope. Rovers come to Richmond in 2 weeks. I hadn't actually seen that. That'll be a cracking game. Jesus, will there be fans at that?
Yeah.
How many fans will there be at that?
Yeah, it's weird now. Like, I can't remember the government guidelines, but I've seen attendances like really fluctuate. Like, Rovers had, it must have been 1,000 or 1,500 in for the European game. The name escapes me. The young lad scored the winner in the last minute. But
2-0 or something, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I think they're playing on Friday. Then it's just back down to 500 or something. Bo's so weird as well. Like, I know totally different stadiums, but just seeing 8,000 in the Aviva, and then they're only allowed like 100 or 2 at You're hoping that, I think it's October 22nd or something, that kind of things return back to normal. So to have fuller attendances would be brilliant. I think another thing, I think it was last week, that Des Kelly stand got taken away from Bows after 100 odd years ahead of their redevelopment. So there was a few tweets, there's a few Bows fans trying to like get in and like nick a seat or something as a piece of memorabilia, which would be really cool. But it'd be great to see Daily Mount redevelop soon too, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, be class. Because Bows be playing in Talca while it's getting done, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
That'd be mad, wouldn't it? That'd be so weird.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It's hard to think of it. Next game was Waterford 1, Dundalk 1. Another game where it's kind of Dundalk. They're obviously not in trouble. I don't think, like, they plenty of games in hand and stuff like that, but they're still down there. Like, they're still in 9th in the league. They're 1 point behind Waterford with 2 games in hand, but it's not looking good there at all. Waterford obviously still, despite the upturn in form under Mark Burkham, they're still down there. With a real, it looks like they probably will be in that playoff spot if Dundalk rise ahead of them. But you'd imagine under Mark Burkham, Waterford should be okay in the playoff, you'd think. But at the same time, it's tough. It's tough to know.
Yeah, I think if it just comes down to like a game or just one playoff, you'd probably fancy them. I know the likes of Cork, Shells are kind of running away with the league, but kind of Cork and other teams like that are kind of up there, Bray. But yeah, you'd fancy Waterford for a playoff if they were in there. And as for Dundalk, like, this season it's just been crazy to win the league. What was it, 4 times out of the last 5 years or 6 years, to go from now to being 9th, 2 games in hand. Crazy. And I thought it was funny too, like, they obviously must have sorted their differences out, but like for Vinnie Pert to return to the same owners that sacked him a year before.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, a little bit. And he has a big job to do. First of all, to just make sure they're not in that 9th place spot, and then maybe a bit of recruitment then during the winter. Maybe a couple. You always kind of fancy them to have a decent cup run, which we'll get on to later. But a bit of recruitment now, because you're not sure if Brian Gartland is going to return. I've seen a lot of other players too retired, and then their goalkeeper. What's their goalkeeper's name? Rogers return as well. So yeah, it's been an interesting season at Oriel Park.
Could you imagine if they go down, like, and then it's them and Cork in the first division, like, and then what was it, 3-4 years ago they're both challenging for the title in the Premier Division? It's crazy to see.
Bad ownership as well, and bad, because at the start of the season we were saying, like, are all these transfers going to pay off, like, kind of weird names that you never really heard of, instead of going for like proven League of Ireland players. And then look at it, like, and it's the thing as well, the whole season we've just been like, I think we've been expecting, like, we're like, they get a win, and you're like, okay, this is when their season kicks off. And then they just like lose 3 on the bounce. Like, they've just been so bad. Like,
I think they lost to Bows like 5-1 last May or last June. And did they beat Rovers like next week or something?
They did some crazy.
It could have been the other way around. I think they beat Rovers first, and then they lost 5-1 against Bows.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meent. Yeah, really, like, ridiculous. Like, you went down. Like,
I never know. My apparently there's a potential takeover at Dundalk though. Peak 6 might look to sell up.
John Blaine.
Yeah,
wouldn't be
because the
surprised.
thing about like Wilfred Zahibo, like he's not cheap. Like he's on a good few bob. I'd say your man Natastat, I wouldn't say he wasn't cheap either. My man Alierik Mikchogan, he left recently. I think I can't remember the winger they got in. He's gone as well. They got I think had an American fella in last year. So like some of their recruitment has been so bad. Like, because Natastat looked really good. I'm not sure what his buzz is now. Like he's Faroe Island international stuff. Like I think he's decent, but like it's like I'd say they're like, especially Zahiba. I think Zahiba's been a really bad signing. He can barely run apparently, according to a lot of Dundalk fans. From what I've seen him in, he's really bad as well. Like we went up to Oriel a few times. That going, he was. Yeah. I expect him to be this superstar. Like I think he was at Valencia. He was in the MLS. I expect him to come here and absolutely own the place, and he's awful. Like
every time we got the ball, he just lost it. Like it's pretty rare. Like never before I've just seen a player get the ball and just look so poor on it and just lose it every time and fall over. And so there was always something, like.
Yeah, completely signing players off like name and reputation rather than actually just having like a look at them and scouting them, like
Giovagnoli.
The name, like. Yeah. But even bringing Vinny Perth back and all was such a strange way going about it. Because remember they announced, it was breaking in the local press that like Dave Rogers was set to be announced as the manager, and then like an hour later, Vinny Perth has been appointed as the new first team coach or something. Like it's just so shambolic, like.
Yeah, no situation.
Anyway. And the last game, obviously the Bohemians game, was postponed due to the internationals, but Finn Harps beat Shamrock Rovers 2-1, which is great for the title race. Great for Finn Harps as well. Pushed him into 7th place, pushed him 3 points clear of Waterford with a game in hand as well. So looks like Finn Harps will be safe. Well, not yet, obviously can't say just yet, but like looking like they're heading in the right direction towards being safe. Tunde Owolabi scored the winner in this one. He's looked like a good player last few weeks and months. I think he scored a decent few goals from now.
He got a
good signing
the other week, I think.
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did.
I think it's Pats.
85th minute winner.
Was it Pats?
No, he came from England. I think he came from like a conference team.
He scored the hat-trick versus Pats.
Sorry, yes.
I can't remember who it was. He's been really impressive this year, and so is Ollie Horgan. Like they've picked up like a good few draws versus the top few sides, and I think I had them right down there in the relegation mix, but it kind of looks like if you were going to bet on it, they'd be safe,
Yeah.
You had them in dead last, like.
In the mix.
Where did you have them go?
A lot of friends.
I think I had them like 9th or 8th. I think I had Longford last though, so I looked at that. Looks like that's done. So
that's done and dusted. Yeah. I think I put Waterford last, which looked all right for a bit under Sheedy, wasn't it? Kevin Sheedy. Looked like it was heading in the right direction, and then Burkham came in and saved the day.
I remember I put Dundalk first, so hopefully they want to do something quick before the end of the season. Like
that's so funny, isn't it? Oh,
shocking.
Absolutely shambolic. Like
it's like Ireland qualifying. It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question.
So you might have Father Ted when the priest was dead, and he's looking to play the 5-a-side game. It's completely out of the question.
It is completely out of the question.
It is, Ted. Oh, brilliant. But we'll move on to obviously the FAI Cup quarterfinal draw was made last week. Actually, before we jump into it, Griff, I'll ask you your opinion on the round of 16 between Bows and Shamrock Rovers, because we weren't on the show last week. What did you make of that game? It was a feisty Dublin derby, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Andy Lyons getting the winner as well. Love to see it. Yeah, it was really, really good strike. Like, but yeah, I think the thing about Bows is this season we've been quite inconsistent, really. Like we picked up towards the end of the season. Like at the start of the season was not good, but it took time for kind of the younger team to gel and stuff. But you've seen it in that game. Like, we probably deserve to win, like 100%. And you just seen like the likes of Andy Lyons, and like he's just a cracking player. Like, we got some really, really good players in that team, like all really young. Like, and you see the problem with us though is just like you just know within like the next like 1 or 2 years, like they probably won't be at the club, like because they're going to go over to England or go to whoever, like, you know. But yeah, like really, really positive. Hopefully as well we can go on and actually win it. Like, we haven't won the FAI Cup, and I think like like, I don't know, 12, 15 years, like 2010 maybe, like. So yeah, hopefully that would be so good, like, to get TDV. I think the Bows fans deserve so long. So
could you have asked for a better quarterfinal draw as well? Minute at home. It's a nice draw, isn't it?
It's ideal as well, because having like 4 games in hand now, really, like, because of Europe, that means even if we have that, like, we can play like our second string squad, but you can probably rest a few, and we got games coming up in the league, so it's perfect, ideal, really. Like, hopefully pretty comfortably.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. I saw this as well. Actually, apparently Dawson Devoy is signing a new deal for next season, which would be a massive boost. And a little bit of a surprise, to be honest, in terms of, not in like a bad way or anything, but like it's like a surprise that you would have thought like he'd nearly have something wrapped up already, like done and ready to go, like with a Premier League team or a Championship side or something like that. But no, fair play, and it'd be great to see him safe every year.
Like, just for the club getting security so they can sell him, like,
could be that as well, yeah, which would be great as well. From like, it's the idea, like,
when you said,
you're not going to keep hold of a player like that for too long.
When you said Maynooth, I just had an image of a friend of ours going, "Oh no, Maynooth, a good side. I was out watching them last week." good transfer window.
One actually, because they're the only like team non-league side that got into it, so obviously that is the ideal draw to get. But like, apart from that, like, if you're getting the team that's finishing or that's last in the first division, you're going to be happy as well. So St. Pat's look like they'll go plain sailing into the semi-final as well, and it could be that could be the final. Bows Pats could be a fantastic final. Obviously, there's still a couple other big sides in there as well, but in terms of the draws that both of those clubs have got, they can't really ask for a lot more. It's nearly a bye into the semi-final.
Yeah, completely.
It sounds so harsh.
You're gonna definitely screen record that.
Surely, like, I would absolutely love a Bows versus Pats final as well, because Paddy, obviously my younger brother, supports Pats, so it'd be so good. Like,
they're always savage games. Like, I think I saw them in the league last May. There's a red card for either side. I think Benson scored last minute penalty. Like, we're always Keith Long, Stephen Little always go at each other. But yeah, that'll be super semi-final.
Yeah, or a final.
We're fine.
So we're all worked out well. Another quarterfinal, UCD against Waterford. Interesting one. UCD obviously challenging for promotion. I think they're third currently in the first division. And Waterford, of course, have other priorities probably in terms of just staying in the league. But Mark Burkham definitely see this as a good opportunity to get into a semi-final, and that's it. If he keeps them up and even the semi-final, that definitely seen as a successful season for Waterford considering how it started.
I think UCD are no pushovers. Like, they've had a good few.
Oh, absolutely not.
Real good results this season. A friend of mine covers a lot of their games and tells me a bit about them. And did a super win against Bray. It was 4-3.
Did you see that actually?
Yeah.
UCD were 4-0 up. And it was like the 80th minute, and Gary Shaw scored a hat-trick last 10 minutes. Put the nerves on.
I think there was something. He's the first ever League of Ireland player, to score a hat-trick coming on during the second half.
That's mad.
There was another stat too that escapes me. But that'll be a good tie now, because
good game.
Mark Burkham might have half a mind on just concentrating on staying up. It's a great opportunity for UCD at home with the bowl, especially. So when are the ties played? Actually, I couldn't remember.
I think it might be 2 weeks. I think rings a bell. I'm not 100% sure on the dates. I have to look at that after this. But yeah, that'd be a good game. And even Colin Whelan, of course, as well, UCD striker. He scored there, I think, 2 weeks ago. I know fella that was in at the match, the UCD match, and he was saying that Stephen Badley was in watching him, and as soon as Colin Whelan scored, Stephen Badley left. So like, it's kind of like an indication of that's who he was out to see. So like that. It looks like he could be a player that Shamrock Rovers is looking to bring in ahead of next season, because it looks like they definitely need to kind of freshen things up a little bit. It's gone a little bit stale there, I think, at Rovers, maybe in the final third of time. So a Colin Whelan type could be a good player to recruit. Looks like a star in the first division. But then the final tie, which is actually a very tough one for both sides, but it could be a good one, is Finn Harps and Dundalk. Finn Harps obviously always going to fancy their chances at home. you could probably argue that they're in better form than Dundalk at the moment. And both very similar places in the league. It's gonna be a tough game, and you could see that one going either way. To be honest,
I think Dundalk be the underdogs going into that now. You know,
yeah. Finn Harp's dark horse to take out the whole way now. Never know.
Yeah. Maybe if they win the cup, I might buy a jersey. Yeah, that'll be a really good tie. Look forward to that. Finn Harp's had some savage results this season, as I said, and Dundalk are kind of in rag order at the moment, so it's there for the taking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
based on current form, we actually would fancy Finn Harps, wouldn't you? Like, I think they've won their last 4 in the league. Like, Dundalk just in dire straits. Be gas see Finn Harps in the final as well. I love that. Like, they got all the way. Like,
because so even from a Bows perspective, like Finn Harps, you probably want to avoid them in the semi-final. Like, it's a tough game.
Sticky.
Tough away day.
Yeah, if you had to go to Ballybuffet in the semi-final, it will be a disaster. Like,
no, Jesus Christ, playing 11 men behind the ball, 1-0 Finn Harps win. Yeah,
that's it. Harps in brilliant form. Can Ollie win the cup? Listen, imagine Ollie Hogan win the cup. I would love that so much. That'd be the best thing ever.
It'd be brilliant.
Be so good. What a man. But yeah, in terms of that Bows, like from a Bows point of view, Griff, do you find, like, obviously Shamrock Rovers are gone, probably fancy your chances a little bit. Like, this has been a really good opportunity this year to do something really good in the cup.
Yeah, looking at the teams, like it should be coming down to Pats or Bows. You'd say are the 2 strongest teams. Like, they both should be in the semi-final. You think without a hitch. The favorite opportunity Bows have had in years. You don't have Rovers there. Like, even past years, you might have like a Cork or Dundalk when they're like at their best. Like, I think it's taken. I think Dundalk would maybe surprise a few teams though, because they still did okay, all things considered. Like, but yeah, who knows? Like, I mean,
they still have the players, don't they? Like,
well,
they still have Duffys and stuff.
Yeah, anything can happen, really. Like, you know, so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think we did predictions for the Ireland-Serbia game. So we might as well just throw them out before we end the stream. What are we thinking? Did we do them? I can't remember.
No, I'm not doing it.
Just refuse. Flat out refuse.
I think we did.
Did we do them? I
think I said, I think we did. I don't know. I'll check. I think we said I think I all said that they're going to either draw or lose. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
Lovely.
Positive
ahead of tomorrow, lads.
1-1. Come on, you boys are green.
4-0 Ireland. Kenny
actually,
in.
No, I can't see it. Like,
my prediction is
anyway.
My prediction is I'm going to have a margarita pizza and 4 beers before lunch. There we go. That's my prediction.
I'm gonna have beer ready.
Oh god!
And I'm nagging in the jokes. If anyone's going into the Aviva tomorrow, actually, we'll be in there as well. Probably might do a little match day vlog or something for the crack. See how we're fixed. We'll see how we're fixed. But hope to see who's there. Actually, I don't want to see anybody there. Especially when we lose. Like, foul humor.
All that time we're all at Ireland together. I remember this is one of the first times I was on camera on the channel was I think we beat 2-0 at home March 2019, and we only scored the second goal in like the last minute. I think Brady. I can't remember who scored the first, but a full time Ross pushed the camera up to my face. Oh, what do you think of that match? It was one of the worst games of football I've ever watched. That just always reminds me. So hopefully, tomorrow's not the same. I don't know. Just from a fan point of view, like I think it's all of our first Ireland games in 22 months, so that'll be special. Yeah. But
well, you were there, Saturday.
As a fan.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
First match as a fan.
I was working.
Shut up.
Get out of here. That novelty will probably wear off once Mitrovic scores a hat trick within 15 minutes.
Oh, Jesus lads, Christ. I'm praying. I'm actually, because even though we're out, I really do hope we get a positive result to be just something.
1-0 Ireland. 1-0 Ireland.
Yeah, come on, you boys in green. We could do it. Come on. Guys, if you did enjoy the stream, please do drop a like and down below. Make sure to subscribe. Really do appreciate all your support so much. Socko, Griff, an absolute pleasure as always.
Cheers, boys.
As usual.
Nice one,
Pleasure.
gents.